performed tonight by Miami native Geraldine Martin.
Early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Geraldine Martin.
Some of the spectacular moments already seen on the AVP League in 2025 as we fly into Miami for week 3 of play from Wayfair Arena. The best players in America have gathered once again, and the beautiful sands inside await their excellent level game. Here we go. Palm Beach in action for their second weekend. Humana Paredes and Wilkerson facing off with New York for the first time. Corinne Quiggle and Megan Rice ready to take the court. Everybody, Kevin Barnett alongside Olympic gold medalist Rich Lamborn. Rich, second weekend for Palm Beach, first weekend for New York. Your focus is kind of looking there, isn't it?
The debutantes, we don't know what to expect. Their first time in the league. They're partnered, of course, with the Taylors on the men's side, who had a very successful regular season, made it to the championships, didn't end up on top last year. But we're really anxious to see what the ladies are going to bring to this squad. Maybe elevate the level. Maybe they get that title, but you know they're facing a tough Palm Beach passion here.
They've talked about being aggressive from the service line, and that has paid off as we look at our standings on the Brooklyn side. We're going to have them in action later tonight as well over on CBS Sports Network. They're at 2-2, but aggression has kind of been the theme. LA last week went 4-0. They were quite aggressive from the service line.
Yeah, with the conditions, we're indoors here. Wind's not a factor. It's pretty jumpy sand, so serving is a major factor for all these teams. That was kind of what LA used to go 4-0, like you said. Hagen Smith in particular just unloading. Expect to see that from all of the New York Nitro.
Olympic silver medalists on one side, New York on the other side, and you're looking live at Corinne Quiggle, now 28 years old, 5'10". She will be the defender behind Megan Rice.
Yeah, MJ, real athletic in her game. She's going to bomb from the end line, and in these conditions, they're going to be very formidable against a physical team in their opponents.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year honors for that is MJ, Megan J. Rice, the Jane side of things. To distinguish her from the Megan Rice who's playing at the same time, who is also from Florida. Kind of a wild coincidence. You look at Corinne Quiggle take the sand for the first time here in 2025. Actually a Florida native at one time.
Well, I mean, you got MJ just up the road in Jupiter, Florida at the Grove, the great Michael Jordan. So we have our own MJ here in the Wayfair.
And her partner there, 26 years old, 5'10", but plays bigger than that out of Hermosa Beach, California. The home of beach volleyball in so many ways. On the other side, Palm Beach Passion, again for the second season in a row, featuring this Canadian Olympic pair.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most formidable duos in all of the world of volleyball, and they are tremendously physical. Brandy Wilkerson at the net, unparalleled physicality. I mean, just the way she kind of moves and the height she attains at the net. And then, of course, that lady right there, Melissa Humana Paredes, such a skilled defender and offensive player, particularly in transition.
Yeah, she and Kristen Nuss, another Olympian on the American side, leading so far in digs per set. One of the big reasons is because she's behind this woman, Brandy Wilkerson. I do not recall a women's blocker who makes bigger moves at the net.
Yeah, you know, we've heard her talk about her teammate, Phil Dahlhauser, being kind of a mentor of sorts, somebody she looks up to. She plays very similarly at the net to the great Phil Dahlhauser.
Wayfair Arena, the home for this weekend, week 3 of play. Palm Beach taking on New York to start. We'll also have later in the evening, we'll have another match for you. Brooklyn Blaze taking on the Miami Mayhem. Debut for the Mayhem as well on the home side. As we're ready to go, Quiggle will serve and play defense, and immediately they work on Brandy, who works her way to the left-hand side. That ball played in and turned over. The on-2 game very much a part of Humana Paredes and Wilkerson.
Yeah, big part of what they're looking to do. It's kind of interesting to see Brandy go around the left offensively and then and take that option ball, even in kind of a compromised situation. So they're really trying to be, to use your word, Kevin, aggressive.
This serve finds Rice on the right-hand side. She'll check down and look. Wilkerson with a good touch. Her partner flies in and gets just enough. A little better opportunity here for Mel, who goes cross court. She comes in hitting .395 and digging a ton of balls.
Yeah, well, you saw the physicality of Brandy touching that first shot, and a little bit of tempo to Mel in transition here. Kind of a lower set. She's able to put it away quickly.
So Mel still at the line, serves the same side. Rice once again saying matchup, and it's a big stuff block first for Brandy Wilkerson. Let's check in with the third member of our team, Kevin Irwin.
Hey guys, I caught up with Mel and Brandy just prior to this and asked them what was the focus against this team on the other side, a team they played just once before, and they said they have to come out to a hot start. If you think back to week 1, they actually dropped a match to Lexi and Julia and the Brooklyn Blaze. They were down 0-5, so it's a point of emphasis from Mel. But there's also one other aspect, and they said that there's 2 contrasting offensive styles on the other side of the net. With Megan Rice, it's going to be big swings, and then on the other side with Corinne Quiggle, it's a little bit more of a shot selection game, so something to pay attention to on the defensive side for Mel and Brandy.
All right, Mel and Brandy went down 0-5 against the Blaze. Here they're up 4-0 against the New York Nitro. Can't mention that previous meeting. It did happen earlier this year in Huntington Beach in the season opener, that Heritage Series event. 21-10, 21-12. Pretty well handled the Nitro. A match in which the Nitro hit just above 0 as a pair.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're already seeing the problem you can face trying to work your way around Brandy Wilkerson at the net. And if you manage to make it by what's waiting for you, a great defender, Melissa Humana Paredes. So it can be difficult. The passion really imposing their will quite well so far in this match, off to the hot start that Cam alluded to.
Yeah, Palm Beach, after taking the loss in their first match, maybe a surprise to a lot of people against Denenberg and Donlin. They lost in 3-15-13 in that third. They came out storming the gates against the Dallas Dream. They went up 7-0 to start that match. That, so far, is an AVP League record. They'll be looking for .5 right now. Pretty good opportunity. Brandy will turn, and that is 5 by 5.
Yeah, that's the advantage to being left-handed right there. She can just kind of pirouette, snap that ball.
So Quiggle and Rice knew they were up against it. Actually, they contemplated a side switch there, and then it went back.
Well, they're sticking with it. Okay. That's Corinne on the left.
And Corinne over the top this time, so there it is. And they're on the board 5-1.
Yeah, it's interesting how just, you know, if you find yourself in a rut, a little wrinkle, even if you don't happen to practice it that much, can just give you the freedom of a different look.
Yeah, they mentioned that some offensive wrinkles would be needed, along with aggressive serving. And you see a jump serve here from MJ Rice. Blasts it, but obviously a little bit low into the cable. That's kind of a necessary risk they're going to have to take.
Absolutely, yeah. You can see her going after it, and you can see the kind of firepower with which she can hit that serve.
So Brandy Wilkerson back to serve, now 32 years old, 5'10", originally out of Switzerland. That ball is long. 2 times best blocker on the AVP, and now a 2-time Olympian.
She's kind of the international woman of mystery, so to speak. You know, the list of passports she doesn't have shorter than the one she does, I think.
She will set here for her partner, pushed out just a little bit and knuckled inside for the winner, Melissa Humana Paredes, originally out of Toronto, Ontario, best defender on the AVP, 2-time Olympian herself, and originally out of York University in that Toronto area. Comes from a volleyball family. A smiling assassin. She is so happy to run down your best shot and then stuff it down your throat.
Yeah.
Pulling Brandy Wilkerson, that's an integral part of her game this year. She'll pull and hit right to the defender. Mel has seen that shot before. And the exchange of on 2. This has been a focal point for Brandy Wilkerson and Melissa Humana Paredes, getting Brandy as involved as possible on 2.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't see a lot of serves necessarily when they're facing off against opponents. So getting her active offensively, like you said, a big focus. And she's doing a nice job because that's her offhand on that play, but that's twice already we've seen her kind of turn against the grain and go on 2 with those balls successfully.
Side switch at 8, just 1 in AVP League play. And here, no wind or sun to contend with, but beautiful sand conditions. Fantastic on the feed, and that ball finds the corner. Nice swing by Corinne Quiggle.
We might even say the conditions unrivaled in here.
Could be. Wayfair Arena, our home for the entire weekend. Nice setup in here. Folks filtering in, enjoying some of the ambiance outside and the volleyball inside. Mel puts that thing up there, and it's a big part of that on-2 game, the reception from your partner.
Well, it's the critical piece to that, I would say, right? Without the control on that first contact, everything sort of snowballs one way or the other for you, and Mel, one of the best.
The most dynamic net presence in the AVP, back to serve. She pulls, Mel digs. And that will be called.
It's a little bit tight, probably, but
okay.
Probably kind of the side-facing approach she had is what contributes to that call.
So you want to throw in with them? Do you want to go down and maybe give our referees a little talking to?
I mean, you know, if you smile like that, whatever you're saying, I'm going to just be agreeing with, I think.
Maybe it fell through her thumbs a little bit as she went to sit that sideways.
The volley purists, they like that call.
They do. They like a lot of things. That is just long. So 0 for 2 on the aggressive side for Rice.
That's a much better miss, so to speak, in the sense that it's long. You know, it made the passion think about it a little bit at least.
They'll work on Quiggle once again, right side here. And that ball is long, looking for a touch not being called. No touch detected so far, and Brandy says, nope, you're not getting it from me.
It's always interesting when players question the other player as if there's some need for them to cop to it.
That ball rides up and becomes an ace service. Pretty dominant opener here from Humana Paredes and Wilkerson. 12-4, complete control.
Yeah, you mentioned the Palm Beach Passion storming the gates. I think they're doing something very similar here.
Looking to push their empire south about an hour and a half with light traffic. That is expertly done by Corinne Quiggle.
That's a very deceptive shot. She's kind of facing to the left, cutting it back to the right. Very well done.
It will be Quiggle back to serve, coming off of 2024 where she had hip surgery and had to recover for the entire season, about 2.5 months out of the sand entirely. Said she feels quite good this year. Been running down a lot of shots she didn't think she'd get before, as her partner nearly had that one at the net.
Yeah, I mean, it's noticeable. Obviously, coming off that significant of an injury, there's going to be a lot of time put into the recovery, but she's really upped her game from a physical standpoint. Her offensive game in particular. And like you said, she's running down a lot of balls that even she didn't think she was going to get.
Brandy will go to the jump serve, put it down the line. That was a laser. That ball pushed a little far. Brandy touches it. And Nell cleans it up. Right away, the Palm Beach Passion had pushed to a set point. So far in the women's game this year in AVP League play, the low number is 8. We're looking at a potential brand new low number here. Our stats man, Doug Strauss, on top of it, looking for maybe a 5 should they get this point. Set point number 1.
Never the columns of the record books you want to be in.
Indeed. Rice will again set Quigley, who's been the focus here in the first, and she finds the deep line corner for the winner.
Yeah, that was crisp. And you could see MJ giving her a little bit more space on that set away from the net. You can't get the ball into kind of the Brandy zone 2-3 feet off the net. Got to have some room to operate.
MJ 0 for 2 so far. How aggressive will she be here in the third with the second set point on the line? Super aggressive is the answer. Good serve dealt with by Wilkerson, who checks down, puts it away, and that will be set number 1, 15-6.
Yeah, that's a great serve from MJ. Just try and generate some rhythm for the next set. There's nothing to lose there.
Kind of on brand here for Palm Beach. They wanted to get that on 2-game going. They did just that. A lot of smiles from Melissa Humana Paredes. Running down some shots and making plays. You see the men of the New York Nitro checking in. Taylor Crabb maybe with some good info for his women's side as they'll look to come back in the second.
How about a little magic? How about a little magic, huh?
Back inside Wayfair Arena, folks, getting some free stuff. Come on out, get yourself a Tiny Wilson Optics ball. That little mini ball, that's a lot of fun to have. As set number 1 has already concluded, Mark Sherman and the crowd getting into it as we begin our evening number 1 of 2 here in Miami. Rich, stats through the first set, extremely dominant from Palm Beach. 800. 80% of the time wins every time in this city.
That is correct. I'm actually quite surprised that the Nitro hitting 212. That's higher than I would have expected with the score we saw. But very little else going their way, unfortunately, in that first set. A dominant performance from the Passion. Rico De Freitas, their head coach, married to Barbara, the multiple Olympian and world champion from Brazil. He's been their coach before, went to the Chinese program, came back and is with the ladies, and they're looking good under his tutelage.
Yeah, they've had a lot of good things to say about how he's trying to innovate with them and how they're trying to develop their game, which is still a young partnership, just 2 years in, and made that Olympic run. As you look at the Taylors, Taylor Sander, Taylor Crabb there in the box for the New York Nitro. What would be your message if you were here with the Nitro?
Well, I think, you got to give each other some space like we talked about in set 1. You can't set the ball too close. Try and work the ball around Brandy. That's step number 1. Stay aggressive from the service line. Corinne, just be a little more tactical, and MJ, go back there with the green light and fire away, because you need to get the Passion out of system, out of their comfort zone, or it's going to be a long, or rather a very short evening. Yeah,
Megan Rice yet to take a swing. 0 for 0. Her partner 9 attempts in that first set, Corinne Quigley. So we start with a missed serve. Kevin Barnett alongside Olympic gold medalist and longtime beach coach Rich Lamborn. Cameron Irwin on the sidelines. Glad you're with us here for week 3. Palm Beach coming out of a 1-1 performance. They lost to the Blaze and came back and defeated the Dream 2 weeks ago on their home sand. Another battle at the net, one again for the moment by Brandy, and second time goes wide. That is the second win for Brandy Wilkerson.
Yeah.
Let's go to Cameron. Courtside.
Yeah, guys, I was talking to the New York Nitro and actually watching in between sets 1 and 2. Some of the conversation around these two was, hey, you got to be more aggressive with that first contact. Can you push that ball up to the net and try and find the option play? Second thing, a lot of conversation around blocking alignment for Megan Rice. Can they bait?
And just like that, you can't run their habits.
But can they bait Mel and Brandy into some different looks offensively by showing one thing, taking another with the block? And then the last and final is get after the serve, and you're going to get a chance to see Megan Rice right now. And of course, that's coming from Taylor and Taylor. They're actually coaching up their teammates on the sideline.
Very nice. Thanks, Cam. Got a great look and a good audio lesson there with Rice as she blasted that ball on 2. Follows it up with that serve. Here's a good opportunity. Quiggle, middle. Blocked again by Wilkerson.
Brandy is just all over her right now, but incredible insight from you, Cam. We saw the on-2 play happen as you were talking. We saw a little bit of a different blocking alignment lead to a transition opportunity at the very least for the Nitro. So doing some of the things that you told us about there.
Yeah, big moves like that, big blocks, and big pony energy is kind of the Brandy Wilkerson brand here as that ball finds its way by her, even though there's no actual maybe full pony going today. Brandy Wilkerson hit .351 in week 1. 1.2 blocks per set as Quiggle goes back to serve. Wilkerson, that's a good number. It's not a great number.
Yeah, she's already out kicking that here.
Nice cut shot by her partner. 3-3. Better start for Quiggle and Rice.
Yeah, absolutely. Some good serving, some good defense, and a little bit better offense from them as well. You never expect a rut to last more than about a set.
Wilkerson trying to go short. Sound like a missed contact. 4-3 lead Quiggle and Rice. There you go. Good rebound.
Yeah, conversely, you know, when you kind of step on a team, it's hard to keep that throttle down sometimes if you're the team that was doing the stepping.
It's a good assignment for New York, and to find out where they are right away. Play Palm Beach first. Brooklyn coming up next. Denneberg and Donlin, as that was a big jump serve. A foot fault will negate it.
Yeah, unfortunately, just clipped that end line with her left foot.
I don't know about that. I would have argued that for a long time without mentioning.
Yeah, excellent work by our officials spotting that.
Little planetary ball, some side spin on that one, and a jump set from MJ, much to the crowd's delight.
And that's one of the things they like to incorporate. In order for you to pull that off, you have to have at least swung once on 2, like we saw her do early in the set. So that kind of leads to selling that second option.
Option given, option taken on the other side. That ball very tight. I don't know that it could have even been set.
Yeah, with the proliferation of the option offense, players are so ready to clean up otherwise bad passes now. You know what I mean? Like that would be a shank years ago, but now in that option mindset, you just go knock that over on 2 pretty easily, like we saw Brandy do there.
They'll keep working on Quiggle. MJ will keep trying to get on top of it as she does there. 2 for 2 on 2. Now here's my question: with the proliferation of that on 2 offense we just saw, is it more difficult for the blocker or the defender of the team that's typically serving into that on 2 situation?
Yeah, I mean, it depends a little bit. You can see the Nitro choosing their spots wisely, namely going, I think that was another football, by the way.
Yeah, she's really close.
Yeah, I think maybe we determined that she just pushed the sand into the line. But going back to your question, the Nitro made a good choice to go on 2 because Brandy's serving, so she's got to run up. She can't get in front there. So in that situation, it's more difficult for the blocker.
Same for MJ in that scenario there.
Correct.
Free ball popped over. Mel calls her partner off and then just rolls it short.
Yeah, really good communication from the passion there. Brandy kind of scrambling, having to go over her shoulder, and then the good chatter from Mel cleans things up.
Chatter good, chowder bad.
Correct.
In the sport of volleyball.
Yeah, enunciation, always important.
Bad pass by Quiggle. Can she clean it up here? Nobody up. Chance to extend the lead, and that'll do it. 8-6.
Yeah, they.
All right, side switch. Cameron Irwin with some familiar faces.
Yeah, I am, Kevin. I'm joined right now by Dan and Luann Quiggle. And Dan, I got to start with you. Second set, a little bit closer here, but you're a motivational speaker. You speak on leadership. What advice would you give your daughter in this moment?
I think just to hyper focus and play each point like it matters, because it does, and really just play each point like it's championship point, because you can't change what's happened, but you can only be in the moment. So the next best pass matters, and make it the right one.
Luann, you are absolutely in the moment being a volleyball mom. How do you describe the nerves of watching your daughter?
Well, it's way harder to watch than it is to play, but I really, no matter what, I always love watching Corinne play.
Yeah. All right. Well, right now they're looking pretty solid. Let's see if they can put a second set together, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, they're better here in the second set, but they've given up a 4-0 run. That might continue here. Another deep serve. Quiggle moves to the middle, moves back out, create a little space, and she finds it.
Yeah, and that's important going back to the option stuff, Kev. How you serve can kind of determine your opponent's ability to implement that option offense. Those good high, flat, deep serves from Mel there, to kind of taking that option away from the Nitro.
Left side, Mel goes short, and a little too short. That is illegal still in the sport of beach volleyball. 9-8, Quiggle and Rice. Hey, look, they only had 6 points in that first set. They already have 8 here.
There you go. Yeah, working their way back. Hyper focus on the now, always a good approach, like we heard Papa Quiggle say.
Well located to the left of Melissa Humana Paredes. Chance here, you got to convert it.
Yeah.
And instead it's Brandy swatting it, but out of bounds. Tied
Just
at 9.
missing. Yeah, nice little kind of push off the knuckle. Go off of that right hand of the block of Brandy Wilkerson.
3-0 run by the Nitro has Palm Beach calling a timeout, and maybe something instructive here. New York has been watching for a few weeks. They saw Palm Beach face off with Brooklyn. Brooklyn put a number of balls to the left-hand side of Melissa Humana Paredes, as they did there.
Yeah, you know, that's certainly a good point. I think for the Palm Beach Passion, it's just a matter of getting back to their side-out game, right, and imposing their will. It's more of an execution thing, really, in my mind.
Every time she's in front of you, go in the other direction. She's diving for you all the way.
Yeah.
Okay? On 2 balls for you, Quiggle is more here. You have deep cross shots. Okay?
Over, yeah, on one.
Here left.
On position 1.
I'm going to hold my line a little bit more here.
Yes, just spinning a little bit. Yes.
So coach is telling Brandy to put the ball to a particular spot on those attacks. Where is position 1?
Position 1 is kind of the right back, so to speak, right? And from Brandy's perspective, coming in from the right side, he's basically saying Quiggle is leaning towards her cross body shot on the option, so she can kind of go with her momentum, go away to the deep corner, away from herself.
This time she'll set her partner. Mel will chop it. There's Quiggle. Making plays, and it's a different kind of second set. They take the lead once again.
Yeah, some really good defensive activity from Corinne Quiggle, and you have to credit the duo, right? MJ putting up a good block in front of Mel, making her carve it around, and Corinne doing a nice job making those reads.
Quiggle played beach at Pepperdine University, missed there, has us tied at 10, so it's a race to 5 for either a third set opportunity for New York or a Palm Beach sweep.
Yeah, those are daggers, Kev, when you end your own good scoring run with service mistakes.
Yeah, a chance to put a little pressure on your opponent instead. Receiving serve now with a jump. Good hard contact. Rice, a little bit off. Finds the save.
That was a tremendous swing, too. Kind of falling back a little bit. Still manages to pull that across her body for the winner.
Yeah, one of the few true 3-contact swing opportunities for Rice.
Yeah, you see her just keep that arm high and snap it.
Potential X factor here in 25. New York Nitro And another foot fault.
Yeah. It's interesting because, you know, I mean, there is plenty of room, but it feels a little bit cramped, the amount of sand behind the end line.
At least you're not alone, Scotty.
He just needs to take half a step back because she's tempting that line over and over again. Already 2 foot faults.
Yeah, I never got there. Were a few players indoors where they were always doing that. Well, if you back up a foot, it doesn't affect your service quality, but you never foot fault.
Right.
Speaking of service quality, that one has New York off balance. Here come the Passion. Into the block. And hit over the top. Nice scramble from Palm Beach.
Yeah, and some excitement from Brandy after that great cover play. Those are momentum builders. Those types of reaction plays when you can kind of bail your partner out, keep a rally alive. Great stuff from the Passion.
Now you get a look at the athleticism that makes Brandy Wilkerson so special. Just 5'10", plays bigger than that. Another jump set here and a nice cleanup. Quiggle has really risen in her attacking numbers after a rough first set.
Yeah, and that's good aggression on that swing as well. Brandy not biting on the jump set this time. Was pretty well in front of Quiggle, but she just hammers it cross court.
Quiggle is hitting 212, now hitting 333. As a side, they are hitting much better numbers than New York Nitro.
Yeah, and that's a stinger too. Great dig from Quiggle, but MJ just barely touching the net. That's kind of the Murphy's Law of volleyball, that anytime your blocker's into the net, the ball inevitably dug behind them.
Must have side out here for New York. Wilkerson. Tough set, and the battle won. More athleticism from Rice. 10 ties, 3 lead changes, make it 11 here with 13-13. That must have side out.
Yeah, good composure from Megan as that set was kind of tight after the tough pass. Brandy, I think, thought it was coming over the net and kind of jumped a little bit early.
MJ with a chance to be impactful from the line. Did she back up? A laser. Nearly had it. Opportunity calls here. Quiggle in the middle. Rejected.
Just the manicure dialed, Kev, right at the end of the fingertips. Brandy getting that swat. And the dagger to get them a match point.
Match point number 1 for the Passion. 3rd block for Brandy Wilkerson. She's upping that total from what was 1.2 to a more expected 1.5. I wouldn't be surprised to see her be kind of a 2 block per set kind of player.
Yeah, she certainly has that capability, and that's one of those, not that it's misleading, but you can't tell everything from it.
Who dealt with that traffic all the way down from Fort Lauderdale? Great.
So more advice from the Crab and Sander combo there. Will be in action next against the Palm Beach Passion. It's kind of the Crab boil. We'll have Trevor Crab versus Taylor Crab. Phil Dalhouser thrown into the mix on the Palm Beach side.
All right, who came all the way from San Antonio, Texas? Anybody? No way. Oh my goodness.
It's straight, yes, 3-1. Okay.
Maybe you're all of her shots.
Yeah, you gotta be kidding me.
Don't feel like you have to go too high on her. She just kind of close.
If that's goes a little.
Brandy Wilkerson has gone between a jump float and a jump serve. Which would you go here? She rolled the last one.
Yeah, I mean, I like whatever you're comfortable with. I think you've been doing a good job with the jump spin, but it's Mel's serve, so she doesn't have to do either at this point.
Yeah, they did. Take that back. They did side out off of that 13-13. Thank you, Rich. Melissa Humana-Paredes, 2nd match point opportunity for the Passion.
And you got to figure they're going up the line here at Quiggle.
They go to the middle. Quiggle receives. And is stuck for the match. 4th block. There it is. 2 blocks per set.
I was going to say, making Kevin a prognosticator extraordinaire. Brandy getting to 2 blocks a set. And yeah, that was it was an excellent bounce back from the Nitro. They played great volleyball in set number 2, but just coming up a little bit short with some great Wilkerson blocks to close it out for the Passion.
Palm Beach Passion took sort of an extended break over between the 2 seasons and had just gotten back into the sand. They're kind of rounding into shape for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking quite good, particularly in that first set, just doing everything they wanted to get done on the sand.
Cameron with our winners.
Awesome. All right, ladies, to get this started, you told me the focus was to start fast. How did that play out in set number 1?
That's exactly how we want to start these games. Not on the receiving end of 6-0, but on the serving end of 6-0. And that's what, that was today's game plan. We want to put a lot of pressure on our defense and serve, and I think we did that.
And then, Brandy, you close it out with 2 back-to-back blocks. A timeout was called just before the close of this match. What was the conversation like, and how did it play out?
Yeah, we got some real good clarity on the plays we wanted to run on both athletes. You know, either of them could have got the ball. There's total trust that Melissa was going to serve it exactly where we needed it, and we just had to do our job. And I mean, we train to be disciplined in these moments, so it's felt good to execute.
I know we are not in Palm Beach, but we're not far from it. And we got to see Palm Beach in week 1. Did the fans come out to support you? Did they travel a little bit south for you?
I think absolutely. We had a great crowd today. We heard lots of cheers, and we are excited for tomorrow night.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to the both of you, and good work. Kev, Rich?
A dominant performance by the Palm Beach Passion. As a team, they hit 560. Those 4 blocks by Brandy Wilkerson. A lot of good defensive moves from Melissa Jimena Paredes, and Palm Beach is on the board 1-0. Congratulations to the women of Palm Beach, and the men will take the stand next. Phil Dowser and Trevor Crabb facing off with Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander. The Crab Boil coming your way next from Wayfair Arena in just a few minutes.